two big things impacted me. I went to see Les Mis on Broadway when I was in 4th grade, and I sat in row K at the Imperial Theater. And that was sort of the first moment that I realized people did this for their job. My after-school
Interesting.
activity could be a career.
Yeah.
I saw the original cast of Wicked on Broadway and told my parents at intermission that I was going to play Glinda someday.
We have Ginna Claire Mason on the podcast today. Thank you so much
Woohoo!
for being here. We
So
are
excited.
so excited. We have had guests on, but this is really, really fun for us because a lot of the guests have been friends or friends of acquaintances or I don't know, but this just feels like really big and really exciting. But also,
Because you're a big deal.
No, we are friends.
really big deal.
We're new friends.
So,
That's what it is.
You are a Broadway star. Not just a Broadway star. I mean, Wicked. You were Glinda on Wicked. And if I did my research right, you did it for almost 6 or 7 years, right?
I think I can technically, if we're getting technical, I can claim 10 years because I went and stood by this year. So it's been like 10 years of Wicked contracts on and off. But I did
Oh my gosh.
for a long time, like consecutively 2015 to 2022. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
is
So
incredible.
then after that, you've
But
now
that was like Broadway and then tour and then Broadway. It was like a
But
jump around.
still, you're Glinda. Like, that's
I
like
mean,
amazing.
doesn't matter where it was. That's amazing.
Yeah. I even wore pink for you. I'm not going to lie. I don't wear pink often, and I wore pink for you. And then you have gone into film and done Hallmark movies, and you've done 5, again, if I've done my research right, which I think is so fun. Hallmark movies were my childhood. Like, is truly like my best friend and I, not this best friend, another best friend. I mean, this is what we would do is like curl up in bed as teenagers and watch Hallmark movies.
That's so sweet.
And your most recent one, A Newport Christmas, came out last month, correct?
It did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So the fact that you are giving us your time is
Any
so
bit of your time. Well,
incredible.
And I've been so interested in all the amazing things that surround the movie because you were like, I'm on the cruise and I'm on blah blah. I'm like, it's so awesome.
When we were emailing, we were like, of course she's on a cruise and then she's here and then she's being I mean, it's just been incredible like the past month. But so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's so
we
fun.
cannot
film these movies. Like you said, it came out last month, but it's like I filmed it in March. It's like we did that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But I have to say, like, the most relevant, I guess, to our podcast role that I didn't mention is you're a mom of 2. That is the premise of our podcast.
That's really why you're here, believe it or not.
We are so interested in your career, but also the fact that you are a mom. It's like so amazing to us. So I'm going to give you your quick little reminder of how you're even on this podcast. Okay. And then Lucy can answer all the pre-questions of why we're doing this and who we are. Okay. So my sister slid into your DMs because she loves your content. She's just like, she seems such like a real mom and she's always chatting about motherhood. And like you and Lucy have this motherhood podcast. But the way that she got to really know you was you were doing some sort of like tour with Wicked, and you put out that you needed somebody to sing For Good with in Indianapolis, Indiana. And my sister told her best friend, Sarah, who's amazing, was like, you have to try out. And you picked her best friend, Sarah.
Yes.
So that is how. So Jackie has a
fundraiser event that in Indianapolis, and I was like, what would be so fun is if I got to sing For Good with somebody who was in the audience, because whenever you sing songs from Wicked, everyone's just singing along in their head, and it's like, well, why don't we get someone up there to actually vocalize with me? It was such a beautiful event, and it was in kind of the middle of nowhere, Indiana, but in this
sounds about right.
Big, beautiful barn. It was a gorgeous event. And I got to help sort of host it, but that was a blast.
Yeah.
So cool.
So that's actually Jackie, my sister, like officially met you, like has a picture with you, but she's such a fan. So thank you for answering her DMs. Thank you for giving us your time. We are
Does she live in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Indianapolis. They love the arts.
We sure do.
Yeah.
So Lucy's in Indianapolis.
So I actually live in Indy. Sam lives in Brooklyn. So you guys are not too. You're in New York, right? I'm assuming.
I'm just outside of the city, but in the area. Yes.
Yeah.
Before I ever did was Flashdance, and we my first tour stop was in Indianapolis, but it wasn't the big, beautiful theater. It was the other smaller college theater. What theater is that? Do you know?
Was it at IU? Was it at Indiana University?
It wasn't at IU.
Butler?
Which one?
Butler? Clues Hall. Yes.
It was at Clues Hall, and I did flash dance there. It was like my first union job out of school. I had just gotten married. And so that's sort of where I launched my professional career, was in Indianapolis. And then fast forward, I was there with my bestie MK with Wicked. That was May 2018. And Indianapolis made us feel like rock stars. It was, I mean,
as we do.
It's
I just love that.
What is that theater called? The Marat?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been there.
So there's usually the audience sort of goes toward, like the house goes up towards the stage, and then there's the orchestra pit, and then there's the stage. At the Marat, the orchestra pit's sort of up under the stage, so the audience comes right up to the stage. So when you're doing clothing or whatever it is, it's like they're a foot away from you. But they made us feel like rock stars, and we got I
How do you have that amount of memory
That's
recall? Because
amazing.
I
You're
can
amazing.
imagine you've been in 350 million theaters in your lifetime.
It's because Indianapolis was so special, and we got, I think, my favorite review, Mary Kate and I, in Indianapolis, because during Popular, she made me break. And didn't tell, it was a few cities prior, I didn't tell her, and like during Popular, I plopped down into the splits and I made her sort of break, which works for the scene. And then in Indianapolis, she did it back to me. Like I did it, and then she tried to do the splits with me. It was like toss, because I'm trying to teach her how to toss her hair. And then she went down the splits, and I lost it. And in the review, they talked about how like they could tell that we were real life best friends, which was true. And we really loved that. That it went beyond our like the audience was amazing. It's like watching them break up. I mean, not that we're SNL, but you know, the audience ate it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Because we love Amy Poehler's podcast. So I love listening to her talk about all of those similar situations
read her
with
book?
her friends. No. Is it good?
You know, when she's like, good for you, not for me, I think about that a lot. Anyways, but that's another story.
I love that.
I came back to Indianapolis again. I did the Indianapolis Symphony. I did South Pacific there. And that was one of the greatest experiences in my professional career. Symphony there is unparalleled. And Jack Everly is iconic. And I would come back to Indianapolis in a heartbeat. I love it there.
If you had given me like a bingo card, all of these connections to Indianapolis would not have been on it today. And I'm loving it.
And when I'm from Indianapolis, I love Indy.
Lucy's born and raised. Like she is born and
I am born and raised. So I'm feeling a lot of city pride right now. And I love it.
You should.
So, okay. So you asked before we started, and we were like, we'll just like wait and kind of give you the premise, because I do think we'll have a lot of new listeners on this podcast and beyond, because we're just continuing to build this thing out, and it's been so fun. But
welcome.
Yeah. Hello, listeners. But Sam here is a stay-at-home mom of 3 beautiful girls, and I am in corporate America with 2 kids. And so we live very different lives. So like,
and I'm in Brooklyn and she's in Indianapolis.
I'm in the suburbs of Indianapolis. So Sam had this idea earlier this year that she's like, I just think it would be so interesting. She's like, I listen to podcasts all day, and I don't think there's anyone that has this like duality of like 2 people that are living very different lives and approaching motherhood in a very different way. And so that was kind of the context. We had different titles for the pod. Originally, we were going to do Grass is Always Greener, because we always talk about that, where like there are certain times where I'm like, wow, I can't imagine how nice it must be as a mom to be able to not have to worry about skipping someone's, recital or bedtime or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's kind of just been the context. And we've had all sorts of different moms from all different walks of life on the pod over the last year. And it's been such a blast. We've learned so much from how different people approach life. And when Jackie mentioned you as a potential guest, we loved it, because I was like, I can't personally think of how different of a life it must be being a Broadway star, living the hours that you're living, which are so unique to your career, and being a mom. So, like, we just have all the questions about that specifically.
You also check a lot of our boxes, too. So, a little more context. I stay at home, but my husband travels a lot. And you're married to a pilot, and I'm assuming he travels. I mean, you literally check all of the boxes of like what we chat about on a daily podcast of just like how we're doing it. And like, yeah. So we're just like fascinated by how you do it.
Y'all are so
Yeah.
kind. Well, I'm so happy to be here. I hope I can answer your questions.
I'm positive that you can. And thank you. Yeah. Thank you especially so much. We know you're so busy right now.
Yeah.
So I think that
Thanks for making the time.
that honestly, like Sam gave you an awesome intro that kind of high level talks about your career, but I would be curious if maybe we could start at like kind of how you got into what you're doing now.
Sure.
And, you know, maybe within that dialogue, talking to how did kids kind of intersect along the way? And when did you kind of know you were ready for that?
Yeah, I think from the time I was a little kid, the things I loved the most were babies and performing. My mom
That's awesome.
tells the story about me with my baby dolls. I had a lot of baby dolls and I had very specific care instructions for them. So I would leave for preschool and I would tell my mom, okay, this is what you need to do for so and so. You need to make sure so and so gets this and this and this. And she said it was
Oh my
always like a
gosh.
moment of panic before I would come home from preschool to like move the baby dolls around and make sure that they had been rearranged and taken care of while I was gone.
Mhm.
So
Well cared for.
I have 3 brothers, and I don't know, she always said I was like a little mama. Like, my younger brother is 5 years younger than me, and he was, he was my baby growing up. So I always knew I wanted to be a mom, and I always loved performing, and I think when I was a little kid, I don't think I really understood that it could be a profession. I just loved doing that, whether it was performing at school or community theater, or I did a show this past weekend at a Hallmark event, and I talked a lot about how much I loved to just put on shows in my living room or backyard with my neighbors and my brothers. And so, but producing and directing and starring in
Yeah.
is always something I have enjoyed. And 2 big things impacted me. I went to see Les Mis on Broadway when I was in 4th grade, and I sat in row K at the Imperial Theater, and that was sort of the first moment that I realized people did this for their job. My
Oh,
after-school
interesting.
activity could be a career.
Yeah.
That was sort of mind-blowing to me, and then a few years later, I saw the original cast of Wicked on Broadway and told my parents at intermission that I was gonna play Glinda someday because I was like, "Oh, I want that job.
Stop.
I wanna fly in the bubble." So, it was always
Oh my god.
That
I
is
would call it
incredible.
lifelong dream. It had sort of a one-track mind, and what I usually say is, there were plenty of bumps along the way on my own metaphorical yellow brick road, and there certainly were. I could tell you about how I never got the lead role in a show in high school. I shattered my kneecap twice when I was a teenager as a dancer.
Oh my
So there was
gosh.
definitely setbacks along the way, but
Yeah.
this big dream I kept chasing after, and nothing could sort of deter me from that path. But I went to school for musical theater. I went to Elon University, go Phoenix, and I got married and moved to New York after school, but not New York City, Binghamton, New York, which is several hours away from New York City. So again, there were plenty of months, years of me, riding the Greyhound bus to various auditions and dance calls and things. I think grand total, I auditioned for Wicked 10 times.
No way.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
I mean, that counts me like auditioning for the movie. And
Yeah.
when I was on Broadway auditioning to take over the role full time on tour. So that counts all of it. But I think it's easy to just be like, oh, she wanted to play Glinda and she did. And it definitely wasn't a linear path, but it's been an exciting one. And and then do you want me to talk about?
So yeah, I'm curious. Like you had this, you ultimately were so successful in fulfilling your dream, which is incredible. When did the babes come? Like how did you think about like where you would insert them with this kind of schedule and busy life?
I think as a young person in training, I always kind of thought, well, I hope I can do something on Broadway and sort of, get that bug out of my system, and then I'll be a mom. And it wasn't until I was in the business that I saw these moms that sort of, quote, had it all.
Yeah.
Were performing and mothers. And I'm actually in this Facebook group, I love to talk about it, called Broadway Baby Mamas. And, everyone on Broadway who's a mom is in that group.
Oh my
We're very
gosh.
secretive about it, but, expecting moms who don't want to announce it publicly, but have questions. And I was just messaging some girls from the group yesterday because it's incredible. Anyone can post anything about needing a stroller or needing a sitter, and the way the moms just sort of, it's this virtual community, but it's all real and sort of centrally located there in Manhattan.
Yeah.
but just there for each other. But I'd say specifically, I did the first national tour of Newsies, and there's this amazing couple named Steve Blanchard and Meredith Inglesby Blanchard, and they went on tour. They were both in the show, and they toured with she turned 2 while we were on the road, but seeing the way that they navigated that, and, not without trials, but
Yeah.
just with grace and the way, the whole cast sort of made baby Ren their baby, and it's really sweet to see, and that sort of opened my eyes to this whole possibility. Anyways, fast forward, there was this thing called a pandemic.
Just a little thing.
I was playing Glinda at the time, and they told us when the show shut down in March, they said, we'll be back in a month. And then after, when that month mark was approaching, they were like, maybe 2 more months. And then I think they pushed the date again a third time. And that's when I really realized, like, oh, they don't know what's happening here. And I had a big birthday coming up around that time and said to Eric, like, Eric's my wonderful husband. Why don't we just give it a go? Why don't we just see what happens? And we don't know. And the pandemic, which was obviously so challenging for so many people for so many reasons, ended up being this sort of built-in maternity leave for me. I didn't have to even miss a show. So when Wicked reopened after their 18-month shutdown, I was 4 months postpartum, but I had sweet little baby Cooper. And
oh my gosh.
I love to tell the story of, let's see, I guess when Cooper was about 6 months old, I was playing Glinda, and I got this audition for a Hallmark movie. And it was to play opposite, Rockettes and Margaret. And it was sort of, I read the script and totally fell in love with it. And it was a period piece. It's set in 1957. Ended up booking it. And there was this very surreal week of my life, January 2022, where I was filming at Radio City during the day for this Hallmark film, walking 2 avenues and playing Glinda at night. And
oh my gosh,
breastfeeding full time. So either like
no,
it was like I had 3. It felt like 3 full-time jobs.
Yeah, it was
COVID. So and then I got so sick. But it's amazing how much you can push your body till you can't push it anymore. But it was that was an especially crazy time. I'd say that was maybe the craziest week of my life as a mom so far.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Fast forward to a year later, I was filming a movie in Germany and Serbia for Hallmark. And that was really special because my best friend, Meredith Touring, she flew over with my then 1-year-old to Serbia, and they were background actors in the movie. And I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter. So that was my other wild family moment where it felt like work and motherhood were overlapping in a really surreal way.
Did that fit with your character, or did you have to hide it in any way?
Yeah. Thankfully, I didn't really start popping till the end. It was wild because we filmed for 2 weeks in Germany, and then we had 2 weeks off, and then we filmed for about 2 weeks in Serbia. And so when we were doing the costume fitting at the beginning of December, I was like, fast forward 1 month in Serbia, and I'm probably that was right around the 5-6 month mark. Green Cross.
Yeah.
I kind of don't look super pregnant first and second trimester, and then third trimester hits me hard.
Yeah.
Really hard in all the ways.
Yeah.
So, my body makes up for it there at the end. I answered your question, but I said a lot of things.
Totally. No, it's amazing. I mean, we're like dumbfounded. So
we are. I am so fascinated by like the logistical of how you do this as a mom. And we've had other working moms on here talk about like balance is out and integration is in. How like where is your system in place to allow you to do this? Like obviously you have so much going, like I am just listening to you and I'm like, I thrive on a schedule. I pretty much know everything happening Monday through Friday, and just listening to you, it kind of sounds like Tuesday is not going to be Thursday, which is not going to be next Wednesday, which who knows what Saturday is going to be like. And you have these 2 wonderful kiddos. So what have you like kind of set in place for you to feel like successful that you can go out and do that?
Yeah. My kids are the best. They're 2 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm crazy about them. It's a lot of things, and it looks different for every job. So it's not, I can't give you a sort of blanket statement, But since I've been a mom, I've only really done the 8-show-a-week Broadway schedule when Cooper was 4 months old to 9 months old, and that was really hard. And at the time, our best friend who had relocated from China was living with us, so we hired her on to help us. I mean, we couldn't have done it without her. Shout out to Meredith Touring, who's going with us to go see Santa today at Macy's in
Oh,
Harold.
So exciting.
amazing.
We're excited, but she's incredible. So I couldn't, I mean, she was also my doula. I mean, I couldn't have done that without her because we don't live near family. So
Yeah.
I can't really imagine how that would have worked. But since then, doing the 8 shows a week is sort of impossible. And I look at my mom friends now. I have a friend who up the street, she's in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and her husband's in Chicago. And they also have someone who lives in with them. But it's so tricky because 8 shows a week is sort of all consuming. You're gone 6 nights a week. You only have
Bananas.
1 week
Yeah.
off. Hats off to anyone who's doing that 8-show-a-week schedule because, again, I haven't had to do that in a few years. I feel like what I do now is challenging, but it's so much easier and so much more sustainable because when I go film a movie, those shoot in 15 days. So
Wow.
you go and you're gone and it's rigorous. It's really demanding for 3.5 weeks, but then you're done. So this past year I was blessed enough to have filmed 2 movies. So I was gone for like a couple weeks in January, a couple weeks in February, and then most of March. But they came to visit me and I try to come back and visit them, and we FaceTime a lot. Like I said, we have great babysitters who are like family in our area. And also our friend Meredith has jumped in and helped us where she can. And she's like family. And my husband's job, he's a pilot. So that has its challenges and benefits, but his schedule is actually fairly flexible. So, and he's an
nice.
incredible dad. So this past weekend, I went and did the Hallmark Christmas experience in Kansas City, which is so much fun. Anyone listening should definitely come next year if they can. But I was gone for 3 or 4 days, and Eric was here, and he held down the fort, and that was great. So I think it looks different.
Yeah.
I got to do a few commercials this year, and all those shoots were only like 2 or 3 days. And so, yeah, you just hire in the extra hands where you can and, find a community of people that will love your little babes when you can't be right there. And thank goodness for FaceTime.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Doing a movie, I mean, think about all the weeks I've just been home this year, and that's been incredible.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because we joke on this podcast that we have 2 like really big extremes when it comes to mom guilt. Like Sam doesn't have any mom guilt ever. I have mom guilt always. And I'm always just curious where people fall on the spectrum, and I'm super curious for you because what you just mentioned, like there are times when you're like highly concentrated, you're gone for a long period of time, but then you're home for like several weeks or months at a time. And at the same time, you're like very clearly fulfilling this dream that you've had forever, which is so amazing. So I'm curious, like, where you feel like you fall on the spectrum. Like, do you struggle with mom guilt at all, or is it kind of just it all balances?
Sure, but I feel like mom guilt can creep in so many arenas in life, whether it be like, what are you doing for school, or what are you feeding them, or what is their bedtime? I don't know. I feel like
So true.
I don't know if that's a
So
perfect
true.
thing, but I feel like I experience a little bit every day, right? Not because I
Yeah.
want to.
Yep.
I like to minimize the mom guilt, and my kids are beautiful and wonderful and thriving, and still, I think there's always a part of you, whether it's, pressures that are real or imagined or from Instagram, but ever present.
So true.
I find that when you said a village, I feel like that has helped me with my, let's say, lack of mom guilt, but also like at first I want to surround myself with hundreds of mom friends. And then I realized like I actually don't want all those voices. I want that support, but I really just want like the 3 or 4 really
Totally.
confident mom friends that like, for example, the reason why that is such a unique spectrum for Lucy and I is because she's like my ultimate best friend. So I can tell her like the deepest, darkest thoughts about my mom not having mom guilt, and I'm not going to feel any judgment. Like I don't need to go to Instagram, like I have that community. Like I want the village to help in terms of like, hey, can you help come over? Like my husband's late. But when it comes to the real, like, deep conversations, it's like I wanna keep my circle really small.
Totally.
So it sounds like you have that village of Facebook group, but you probably also have, like, some mom friends that you have that you I'm assuming in the industry, I mean, you can kind of rely on to be like, "Are we really doing this thing?" Like, you
Right.
that are doing the same thing as you that can help
Yeah.
monitor that maybe?
Right, and talk to other Broadway moms and go, like, "How are you making this work?" And that's what I
Yeah.
those are the posts that I see a lot. Like, one of my friends
Yeah.
posted yesterday, starting in January, I'm in a Broadway show and my husband's in a Broadway show, and what are we gonna do? And
Oh
and
my
people have
gosh.
ideas and sort of brainstorm together, and I think that's really special. Where I find community the most, definitely Broadway baby mamas. I'm in a text thread with almost all the moms in my neighborhood on this, like, 3-street radius. And that's we call it book club because we usually meet for book club once a month, but I haven't actually been to book club in a long time. But it's the group that you're like, oh, I need an extra slumber pod to travel this weekend, and they go,
Yes.
on my porch, come
Yeah.
grab it. So, and then the group that I'm really grateful for is out of my church. There's a group of moms who are all sort of in a similar season of life as me, and it's probably 20 moms on there, but not a day goes by that we're not texting
Mhm.
something to each other, whether it's
Mhm.
like a prayer request or like a relatable reel or
Mhm.
something like that. And those are
Yeah.
the moms that helped me when we were moving. They're the moms that, throw a Hallmark Christmas movie watch party for me every year.
Oh.
So awesome.
And I've been really blessed too that where I live on either side of me, there's a mom with 3 kids, and then there's a mom with 2 kids and one on the way. And they're both working moms too. But the way that we've sort of had each other's back has
Mhm.
been incredible. That job I got in Indianapolis, the with the symphony, I always say, like, I wouldn't have gotten that job if it wasn't for Amber. I was like 2 weeks postpartum with my daughter. I ended up taking with me to the audition, and I needed my toddler to go somewhere, and my husband was flying, and I couldn't find a sitter because it was last
Mhm.
minute, and she
Oh
ended up
my
taking
gosh.
Cooper for the afternoon so I could go into the city with my newborn for this audition, and I was like, "Amber, I wouldn't have gotten that job if it wasn't for you. I would have just been like, 'Sorry, I
Mhm.
can't make it.'" So, I think that's incredible.
I feel like when I had my first baby in San Francisco, and I remember sitting there with another mom 3 months in, and I didn't know her, and she was like, "You have to find your mom tribe." Like, if this is like, I think as a new mom, I was looking advice of, like, how to sleep train and how to breastfeed better, and she was like, "None of this matters. You need to find your mom group." And I specifically remember this. I moved from San Francisco 3 months after that, but I just feel that so deeply because 'cause I've moved 4 times 4 different cities with kids, and that is, like, my main mission in life is to,
Yeah.
like Lucy always jokes with me, like, when I land, it's like, "What moms can I surround myself to help me do those things?" Because you just can't and we don't live near family either, so it's just like you have to really find that, and once you do, it's so helpful.
And Brooklyn, I would imagine, it's like, New York is crazy. I don't know how you I think what you're doing is so interesting and so difficult, to be honest, because I feel like New York is a place where people are busy. A lot of, like, high achieving people live in New York and are
Mhm.
chasing very specific things, and so to find community in that environment has to be challenging, and then also just navigating the subway with a stroller. God bless you.
It's really funny you say that, but moving to New York has been really interesting for that because we're from Indiana, like you said, and I think you're from Nashville,
Mhm.
right? Okay. And I joke with people. We actually had another guest that's from the area, and I'm like, nobody is busier than people in New York. And I say that jokingly
Whether it's
because
real.
it's like yeah.
Yeah.
And like I really struggled with that, but I've cracked people because I've been here 2 years. I've only been here 2 years. And I will say the first year was a little off putting because I was like, wait a second, we're supposed to help each other. But everybody was so busy.
Yeah,
And now I
it's
have
more like dating in New York City. It's so hard to meet
so
somebody.
Yeah.
busy. Yeah. So I
It's
kind of
so
just force
crazy.
people to be my friends, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
Good. I think that's
yeah, yeah.
um I just so happens that one of my best friends is my sister-in-law, so my husband's little sister.
Oh,
She
that's
was my friend
awesome.
first in college and I met him through her. But she's definitely like the mom friend that I can go deep with, and we were texting
Mhm.
this morning and FaceTime, the one that you can get on
Yeah.
FaceTime for 2 minutes and be like, "Hi, can you keep this child
Yeah.
entertained while I,
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
answer?"
What did we do before FaceTime? I'm telling you, there's so many
I know.
Oh my
so
gosh.
many ways in.
One of my other She lives out of town, but she's further ahead of me on the mom journey. Her kids are, ages 9 to 12, 13. And so it's nice having people who can give you advice who are a little bit further down the path and just perspective.
Yeah.
We love that. I think
Yeah.
some of our favorite conversations this year have been with moms of teenagers and kids that have graduated from college and been like, what are we missing now that we might, understand because we don't have the benefit of hindsight yet. So,
Right.
So, okay, we're curious. This is a question we ask everyone as we get close to the end here, but we're curious about what are your non-negotiables for yourself every week? So, we're talking a lot about parenthood, we're talking a lot about motherhood, but obviously you are also an individual and we just love knowing kind of what you have to do for yourself to make you feel like you.
It's not negotiable or just like things I try to prioritize.
Yeah,
But
great.
definitely my church moms group, we only meet once a month. And if I have something else going on, I try to really prioritize that because I know how much it fills up my heart to be with those people.
Yeah.
Something huge that we did last year because of my sister-in-law, Becca, on the difficult afternoons when Eric was out of town, she'd say, "You just need a gym with childcare. You need a gym with childcare." And this was around the time when I was just doing all my workouts in my basement, which is lovely.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a good workout in when there's children surrounding you. So we decided to join this awesome gym last year, and it's got 2 hours of childcare, and it meant Eric and I could go and we could work out or do a class or catch up on work or sit in the coffee shop and look into each other's eyes and be like, "Hi, how are you? Good to see you." And
I love that.
that's been really, it's just given me more margin. It's made me feel healthier and stronger. And the little kids academy where they go, Cooper doesn't go all the time because he's in preschool, but Annabelle goes, for a couple of hours in the morning and takes like a ballet class or an art class. And they're so loved there. It's so sweet. And they genuinely have such a good time. And so that's great for me that their lives are being enriched. And I feel like I have a moment to, I remember when Annabelle was really little, sometimes I would just go and shower and like put on makeup or sit in the sauna or steam room.
So smart.
Yes.
But
I love how you said that. Like it gives you margin. I feel like that's like such a great way of communicating. Sometimes it's literally just like, how do I get a little bit more on the edges?
I remember one time I had an audition and it's like I could just go sit in the cafe and memorize lines, or I rented out a studio and filmed like the dance portion of an audition while so that's been huge for us. And I meet up with if people like want to hang out, I say, meet up with me for this class or meet up with me for coffee here. And so
smart.
I feel like this is an unpaid advertisement for Lifetime Fitness. It really is amazing.
That's great.
And then the other thing we try to do, it's been harder, I'd say this last month just because our schedules, but something we do really, really try to prioritize is a date night once a week. It's been more like once every other week the last couple months because we've been moving and it's been kooky, but I think that's really important. And the other big thing that I haven't talked to you about yet is during COVID, one of my best friends and me, we launched a virtual music theater school and started teaching. So my side hustle now that is incredibly fulfilling for me is I have a good handful of like 20 to 30 students and I teach online and in person. We're actually in my brand new studio right now. This is my first time really getting to use this space because we just moved in here. But so I could teach more in person, which I'm really excited about. But I have some really incredible students that I'm so proud of. Some who are, booking the leads in their school show, and some who are working professionally around the country. And so to get to be part of young artists' journey, some of these students I've been teaching for 5 years now. We started during the pandemic, and like one little girl I started teaching when she was 4, and she's 9 now. I have another little girl who's got to go out. She did the first national tour of Annie, and now she's doing the first national tour of Music Man. And but seeing their wins, when I get the calls or the texts that, they got the part, which happened a lot this last week, actually. Like one of my students just booked Ariel and one just booked Dorothy.
Oh my gosh.
It's so exciting. And I want to teach these young talents to, what it's like to work in professional environments. And something we talk about a lot in classes, being willing to take risks and taking up space. And one of my students the other night in White Christmas, she's playing Susan Waverly. Someone was supposed to be there to open the curtain and nobody was there to open it. So she like made a bit out of it and crawled under the curtain and made it like her own entrance, which is something we've talked about, like entrances and exits on Zoom. And so I felt like she was so confident and comfortable to make a new entrance, to take a risk and make a new choice in the moment. And so, yeah, I love getting to teach, but that's, it's one of those things that you're like, okay, well, am I going to teach during nap time? Am I going to teach during after bedtime? Or am I going to get a babysitter during the day and work students and then? And it's sort of different week to week and flexible in that way, which is a blessing. But I love teaching.
No thing to add. I'm like, oh, okay, just a silent side hustle. That's probably
when I'm filming. I will say, like, sometimes I'll take 1 or 2 students if they have a really big audition. But for the most part, when I'm filming, I have to say, hey, y'all, I have to put lessons on hold for a few weeks, which my students are always incredibly understanding, and hopefully see that I'm continuing my education so I can instill that. But I can't teach full time, obviously, and be on set for 12 hours a day.
I didn't know you were teaching, and now I'm wondering, we have like a quick little game I like to end with as well, but because you said that, like, what is not what's next, but also what's next for you and where are you going? But also, like, you seem so like passionate about each one, like Broadway, film. Now you're teaching. Like, is it just, do you see it where it's just interchangeable and just you never know, or do you kind of feel like one tugs at those like heartstrings more, or you just seem so like optimistic, like we're just gonna see where it takes us? Yeah, I'm like wow,
I just started doing commercials. I had never done commercials before, and I did 3 this year, and it was so fun. And my ultimate dream was always Glinda. I didn't even know to dream the Hallmark.
Yeah,
and that has been the best. I love Hallmark. I love their company. I love the way they treat us. I love the stories I get to tell. I love that people welcome us into their home during the holidays. We get to be part of their traditions. It's really meaningful, especially doing things like the cruise and Hallmark Christmas experience and interacting with fans and hearing how these stories impact their lives. And I think we're all storytellers in some capacity. And I just like to be part of telling meaningful stories, whether that be, my student booking a dreams job or getting into their dream school, or like a really fantastic Hallmark script. I would love to do live theater again someday if the right opportunity presented itself. But I think you get to say yes to different things in different seasons. But, the most exciting story that I'm telling right now is the one with my family. I mean, I look at my husband, I'm like, I'm living my dream life. This is amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So
that's so cool.
All sunshine and rainbows. There's definitely hiccups on certain days, but
yeah, it has to be like a tad harder than the dolls when you were in 4th grade.
It's so much. I don't know if I answered your question, but
no,
it's great.
I just honestly, like, I couldn't. My like last job of the season was this Hallmark Christmas experience. And even this past year, I did 2 movies and a commercial. Like, that was how I started the year. And then a lot of the year was sort of open-ended. I had maybe 1 concert a month or 1 fundraiser a month that I was always looking forward to. It was just enough for me to, have my eyes set on the next thing. But I know I have a concert in January, and I know I have a concert in February, and then I don't know what. But that's sort of the exciting, terrifying part of being an actor, and taking every opportunity as it comes. And thank goodness my husband has a real job.
Love it.
Yeah. I just get to act as a hobby. No, it's
so great.
fun, and it's so fulfilling.
Amazing.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we like
see, that I'm following my dream and that they feel inspired to follow their dreams.
Yeah, I love that.
Do they seem like little performers yet? I know they're young.
I don't know. I think potentially. I might try to steer them in a different direction, but I can tell.
They're young. You got plenty of time.
Well, Lucy had quite the performing background, and
local theater, high school things.
Theater. She's a beautiful singer.
But now I'm just squarely in corporate America and just love
to
show
consume
choir the content.
High school?
Oh, I sure did.
Because we didn't have that where I grew up, but I know from my friend who grew up in Indianapolis that show choir was a big thing there.
National champion senior
year.
Girl. So big time. Yeah, big. I wish I had like the sparkly costume to bring out right now. It'd be really epic, but
I wish
Well,
above you in the office, Luce, you had like your Indiana University and then your show choir state champions above
I
you
think I
because
should.
it
Okay,
was a
that's
good
going to be a refresh.
What did you study at IU?
I did a business major and a music minor.
That's awesome. Their music
So
school's incredible.
it was the best. And it was just like the way that I could still stay connected in some capacity. But yeah, it was awesome.
Wow.
So
That campus is
I know.
gorgeous too. I
Yeah.
love that you went there.
Okay, so we love to play at the end a quick little this or that game. Are you down for a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought I would we always try to play into like who we're talking with. So I thought I would do a few Broadway theater questions, this or that, and then a few mom and Broadway.
okay, great.
You're going to pick what you prefer. Okay. Do you prefer an opening night or a closing night?
Opening night.
Yeah. Do you prefer as an audience front row seats or the mezzanine so you have a better
Front
view?
row. I want to see your face.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to see
love that.
dripping. I want to see the tears. I want to be in the front.
Do you prefer when you're performing the big ensemble or do you prefer an intimate duet?
Wait, ask the question. What do you mean with the whole
Like,
with that?
yeah, the whole, yes.
Intimate duet.
Which I'm so glad you said that because I needed a reason to tell you that I listened to your For Good with Mary Kate.
It's so good.
It's the I Love You song.
It's so
It literally
wonderful.
made me tear up last night because like, the story behind why you did
Yeah.
that recording was so sweet.
Thanks.
Okay, so now this might be a little more confusing because I tried to mix Broadway acting and motherhood. So bear with me. Would you prefer a chaotic backstage quick change or getting your kids ready really quickly 5 minutes to get out the door?
Quick change, because that's choreographed. The most
Yes.
chaotic, quickest quick change is choreographed. Everyone's where they need to be and you make it happen.
Mhm.
And I feel like all bets are off 5 minutes for you to get out the door.
Agreed.
All bets are off. All
Man,
bets.
here's my vulnerable moment. Eric was out of town first half of this week. Cooper was 10 minutes late to school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I was like, I am so bad at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breakfast,
We
and
talked.
clothes, and making lunch, and putting something presentable on myself. I mean, do you
No,
get back
it's too
from
hard.
preschool drop-off or school drop-off and look at your hair and go, God bless whoever had to see me in that drop-off line because, wow.
Bless. I mean, honestly, this is a Brooklyn win because now that it's cold, I'm literally in like a hat, a puffer, like nobody can see me.
Yeah.
So when I come home, I'm like, thank God nobody could see anything but like my eyes because yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Costume malfunction or diaper blowout?
Oh, gosh, that's hard. My Broadway debut, one of my shoes fell off during Popular.
No way.
But then I just ripped the other shoes off, which was
Great.
hard because then I was dancing around on a raked stage, which is like an angled stage in tights, which I was like, I know
my
I'm going to eat
gosh.
it. I know I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, the thing that would be easier to manage is probably the blowout. You're right.
Yeah.
I had to deal with one of
Yeah.
those yesterday. We're working on potty training, but boy, oh boy, do I have the sweetest, stubbornest little girl. She's the
Oh
best.
my
She is like
gosh.
all girl.
Mhm.
We've got her, we got the princess panties. We got Minnie Mouse panties.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
We've got toilets on in every bathroom, like
Yep.
little mini potties.
Yep.
She is so
Uh-huh.
ready, and she's not committing. She's not committing.
No.
Yeah, and I mean that could be anything. That's scary. I don't want to go that direction. I don't want to go that way.
Yeah. Would you prefer a super late night curtain call or a 2 a.m. mommy wake up, a kid waking you up at 2 a.m.?
Late night curtain call.
Yeah.
I think I was like built for a Broadway schedule because I love staying up late. I love staying up unless I'm already asleep, and then I don't want to wake up at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Get it.
No. Okay, last one. Tech week exhaustion. And please forgive me that I had to Google what tech week meant, but I figured it out. Or the everyday weekday morning exhaustion, just like a whole week of like the chaotic mornings.
This is like a nuanced answer. But have you ever listened to Christy Knockel's podcast, The Glorious and the Mundane?
Oh, no, but I've
It's a fantastic
heard
podcast.
about this. Yeah.
I started listening to it before I was a mom, but it speaks to me a lot now in motherhood. But there's something about the day-to-day morning exhaustion where you feel like you're knee deep in the mundane, but there's something glorious about it.
Mhm.
But Tech Week, the hard but gratifying part about that is that you're creating something and hopefully seeing. I mean, you are with early mornings too, right? It's just different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would prefer the early mornings with my kids.
Mhm.
Okay.
I love those.
Love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm not a morning person, and working on becoming one.
Yes.
We are morning people, so we're impressed by your ability to stay up late. It's just incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time. We are so appreciative. This has been so fun.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for so sweet. Thanks for tracking me down. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Thank you.